So, hey gals, guys, and everyone else, it's been another week of streaming, of printing, of sanding, of just lots of work, and I am here to show you what we've got done. I will put my hands up and say, it has been my first week off uni since I've started, so what a lot of this week has actually been taken up by is going to the cinema, eating, sleeping, playing Overwatch, sleeping, eating, and then playing more Overwatch. I might not have got as much done as I would like to. We are still here working on the staff part. We have the nozzle, which once it has received another coat of primer, will be ready for its final sanding pass, and then that will be ready to be painted with the dark metallic effect. We have our flap holder. The filling and sanding is going quite slowly because some of these are quite big gaps. I'll put my hands up and say our printer hasn't been nearly as reliable as I'd like it to have been recently. In fact, 3D printing isn't the magic bullet that solves all prop related issues. These are all printing failures where the print has, where this one, you can see how it's come off the bed just before it's finished. You can see this layer is at a different angle, is slightly different than the rest of them, where it's kind of popped off the bed. Whereas this one, it did quite early when I was trying to print the entire thing as one piece. And then all of this came out. This is what's supposed to be the rest of the 3D print. And so we've had failure after failure after failure. However, we are slowly making progress. That goes on like that. And then behind this goes this bit. Actually, that's a lie, because behind that bit goes a part that these bits stand into. And of course, off this bit go the three flaps that you're all familiar with if you were here for our last video. It's all coming along. However, I'll put my hands up and say I've made some mistakes along here, which is why each individual part is now living in its own jiffy bag. Because at the end of last week, I went and did some spraying at university. I go to university and I'm doing a model making degree, which covers props and hard edge model making like this. So we have a whole load of resources that I have access to and have been using for these, such as our spray room, which is how I got what I think is a wonderful finish on the end piece. So I went to uni. And set myself up in the spray room with the three flaps and a few other pieces, and sprayed them all down. However, I didn't transport them home very well at all. And by the time they were home, they had big chips out of them, gouges where they'd all been clashing about together. I just hadn't looked after them, and it takes about 48 hours for the paint that we're using here to fully harden. So that is entirely my fault, where I have just rushed it. Also, the sanding job was kind of incomplete, as I was just eager to get these into the spray room before term ended and the university closed for us students. So now we're back at this, and I promise I will have these all ready to go and the next time I'm able to spray. And we'll get the whole thing to look like this. But less about failures. Shall we see a success? We have here our staff midsection. It's about 80 centimeters long. It doesn't feel that long, but it does some really rather cool stuff. Because we want this entire prop to break down, we have our end piece, and we have the 3D printed socket, and we just go like that, twist it until the bayonets meet, and it just clicks in. And that is pretty hard to take off. It's certainly never coming out. And that is how both ends of the staff are going to come together with magnets and bayonets, all 3D printed. And also, if you look at the staff, it does have two notches either end of the main staff section, one just below the handle and one 10 or 20 centimeters above the bottom section, and this makes up for those perfectly without having to try and cut a notch in there, and makes this eminently more portable. So we're going to put these away in their jiffy bags so I don't damage them anymore, because I am some flavour of idiot who has managed to hurt everything she's ever made. Put these to one side because they're going to need more sanding. It's weird to say, but I'm genuinely enjoying the amount of time putting into sanding these, as you feel like you have so much control over the final finish of your prop, because when you finally get a prop that has that perfect surface that looks like a professional piece, there's something magical about it, and that's what we're going for with the whole of Mercy in White. We're probably going to take a little longer than I would have liked. What's next on here? There's her gun, which I showed you last time. No progress on this. I haven't started to reprint parts of this because, as I say, I don't like this prop. I don't like this prop. I do like the model. We're going to reprint his model. I think this is 150% scale, and it is huge. So we're going to print it 175% scale, and I'm going to include channels inside so we can put some lighting in it. More about electronics in a minute. And then what else? Let's move on this page, shall we? Okay, I've taken this image here of the wing details. I've vector traced it, so I have a copy of it, and I've smoothed out the polygonal lines on it, so they are more smooth and less polygonal, because I think that looks better in real life. I'm upscaling the details on this, and that vector image has been sent off to a laser cutting business, and they're going to be cutting me 2 sets of these wings in 2mm clear acrylic. We're then going to spray those down with translucent yellow paint and maybe frost them, because the frosting will help them being backlit, because I'm going to be backlighting them with RGB LEDs, so we can computer control them and have them twinkle. Since it's going to be a couple of weeks until they get back to us with those, I've printed out the vector image file that I sent to the laser cutters, so I know that these are exactly the right scale, because I've printed these out on multiple A3 sheets and then glued them to some cardboard backing. I will be honest, the biggest of them won't even fit on any display of the camera, because this is 130 centimeters long, and this is the longest of the fronds. Boop. And yeah, this gives us some idea of what we're working with and what we have to contend with, because even like this, there is a fair bit of force to move that up and down. Now, my goal, my absolute goal for these wings is to have 90 degrees of movement in them. Did she say movement? Yes, we're going to have some movement in these wings, but 45 degrees is what I'm going to aim for, and if I think I can over-engineer it to have 90 degrees of movement, that's perfect. If I can only do 22.5 degrees of movement, that will be fine as well. But what I want to do is have all of these able to move up and down a little bit, if only to make it so I can walk through doors without having to take the wings off every time. That is what we have for the wings. It's a lot less. Now though, it should go back to the staff, because I want to walk you through our electronics suite. I promised in the last video, and hopefully next video will be assembling them. But let's put those aside and go to our electronics. Let's work from the electricity up. So LiPo charger, clip, soldered onto here, clip onto here. Good, that is our power supply for the staff. That will go to power this Arduino. This is an Arduino Nano. It is about as powerful as an Arduino Uno. In fact, it's surprisingly powerful for its size, and it should, in theory, run everything we'd like to do with this staff. From here, this will control the electronics in the staff, because there's going to be a few electronics in the staff. To actually go to the rotating part, which will be this bit and the head, it needs to go through this, which is a slip ring. So this has 6 wires in it, and each one of those wires can freely rotate inside this ring. So this can twist as much as you like, and the wires will not get twisted up. So this bit will go inside. I will 3D print a coupling system for it, and then quite likely epoxy the whole thing together quite securely. But that will go in there and then be rotated inside by a stepper motor. So that will rotate this inside the bearing. So the entire front part of the staff, the weight will be taken by the bearing. This stepper motor will then rotate it. This will rotate with only this like little strand of wire coming through. So beyond this slip ring, and then we'll also have these 3 metal geared servos. These are micro servos, so they are quite small, although they're not actually as small as I would otherwise like, which means I have to kind of wedge them in at an awkward angle but they will move up and down, and they will move an acrylic push rod through this section here, which will, when this bit is attached like that, this bit will be attached by a wire, push rod, will move this bit up and down, nice and simple. So we will get some movement out of this. It might not be a lot of movement, but it should look good. What else could be in the head? We also will have one of these. This is a NeoPixel, or an RGB LED. It is an LED that can be any color you program it to be. These three different electronics, the PWM controlled servos, stepper motor controlled stepper motor, and the NeoPixel, will all take up exactly 6 wires, which is what you get through a slip ring. That's really nice. This RGB LED will fit perfectly, the centimeter wide thing will fit perfectly up. When we finish painting this, we'll put a something different, diffuse light inside this hollow section here, and we backlit by this NeoPixel, which means, because it's not a normal LED, it can change colour depending on what setting we have it on. That's what's in the head of the staff. But bringing it on back to the handle, we have the handle. And what are we doing with the handle? You might notice there are some additional pieces of the handle which have parts missing from them. And these bits are where these little buttons are going to go. And they have a wonderful little click to them. They're nice and subtle. So the idea will be to have a button on this side, a button on that side, and then these buttons will be the things that control the action of the staff. So you press one side for healing, you press the other side for boosting. Turns out, and I am incredibly happy with this, turns out you can get tiny OLED displays. This is a full 128 by 64 pixel display, and it displays in both yellow and blue. Now, if you're a immersive player like me, you will know the two different colours of healing versus boosting are blue and yellow. You can buy these things which will do full RGB, but this one does just blue and yellow, which is perfect. And if you have a look at this little, have a look at the little window here, it fits perfectly inside the little window. So, when we press one of these, in theory, if we can program the Arduino correctly, when we press one of these, a lightning bolt will show up. Press the other one, the cross, and we can make it say other things as well. That's not the only cool thing that's getting in the handle. The astute viewer may have noticed there are some extra holes on the side. These are the exact same holes as are for these buttons here. Why do I need 4 more buttons on this? We've got healing, we've got hurting, what else do we need? These buttons are going to talk to the Arduino, which is going to talk to one of these radio transmitters. And what will that control? That will control the wings. So we have 4 buttons for the wings. I reckon it's wings out, wings in, lights on, lights off. Or possibly emote, stationary out, lots of light, off, withdrawn. Maybe you can give us a suggestion. Leave comments below, what do you think they should do? However, as I've said before, I'm not entirely happy with this printed piece, because although we've got a nice slot for our charging circuit, what we didn't do is include a space for the on-off switch. This on-off switch I want to put right here underneath this part, so it's underneath the prop. It won't be intrusive. You're not likely going to accidentally touch it. Kind of bamboozled myself there a bit, haven't I? We really need the on-off switch. However, this part hasn't printed very well. It's got a lot of warping on the base around here, so I want to reprint it once the print is a bit healthier. But the thing is, I don't want to reprint this part because, as I said in the last video, that brown smudge is a spider and it's laminated into this piece. And I think that's kind of cool because I'm a bit morbid like that. But it's okay, we have a new spider laminated into a different part of our print, which is this part. You can just about see a leg still caught in there. So I'm okay to discard this part, still get to claim there is an effigy of Widowmaker laminated and murdered for this prop. Ooh, exciting. I can't wait to get some of that soldered together and hand it off to my programming friend who will do the programming for it after I've done the electronics. Should we see the final little bit of progress we've made? It's not exactly exciting. Thanks again to Jill Cope, who has modeled these, put these online for anybody to use. We have the pieces of our halo. Now, I haven't prepared a whole bit to walk through how this whole thing's going to work because, well, these go with the wig. and I'm not really a wig person. I have a wig that is ready to be designed, but that requires learning some new skills, which I don't quite have yet. I'm not going to bore you to death by trying to walk you through that here in this video. All you can see is we have these bits, they still have support material on. I have barely tried to clean them up yet, but there's a small spattering of electronics that'll go in there because she does have a glowing ring inside her halo. Hopefully next week or next video, whichever one comes first, we will get some progress on these. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you're excited, interested, and curious about where this costume will go. And if you have any suggestions, feedback, or any of that, please let me know. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel to see how this comes out. Thanks for joining us, and I'll see you in the next video.